Good evening, Razorback fans. Welcome to another episode of Hog Talk Podcast, live from the Sterling Soap and Roastery Studios, part of the Believe in Buzz Radio Network, where you can hear us each week on 106.7 Buzz 2 in Central Arkansas. All live shows are coming to you by Arkansas Brewing Company in downtown Ozark. I'm Port Hayes. Alongside me, as always, is Adam Hall, and we start off-season tonight. All things off-season, all things sports. We'll sprinkle a little Arkansas stuff in there, but we will start off with the hot topic of the week, hot topic of the day. Sorsby, Texas Tech quarterback, has been ruled eligible for the 2026 season by
a Lubbock judge.
Lawyers and judges in Lubbock, Texas. Adam, I mean, where are we going? I mean, of course we know our thoughts on this, but where are we going with this, and where are we going with college athletics? Where are we at?
The NCAA conferences, etc., are basically saying, here are our rules. If you break them, you can go see a local judge to grant you injunctions until you're done, so you can still play. We saw it in Auburn, we see it in Alabama. Now we're seeing it here. I don't agree with a lot of what Colin Cowherd has said over the years, but what he said earlier today was perfect, because it's all over the place.
Mm-hmm. It is, and we watched that. I mean, you sent it to me, I watched it, and look, you can look at the comments, and it's 90-10 of he's an idiot, he's this and that. But when you listen to the part of it, it's almost like what we talked about last week with, it's comical because it's the SEC doing this.
Yeah.
You know, you want to talk about regulations, but let's throw Nick Saban out there. And there's people in the SEC, oh my God, he's the greatest coach ever. Mm-hmm. He can say whatever he wants. That's not how this works.
Yeah.
Again, it's not the message, it's the messenger.
Yeah.
And Colin Cowherd, really, nailed it on, hit the nail on the head with the hammer, because he was talking about one, college and pros.
Mm-hmm.
And
you, me, and several others for a long time said Pete Rose needed to be in the Hall of Fame.
Mm-hmm.
Forget what he did. It's over and done, whatever. And so now it's one of these things with Sorsby. I'm just like, it's a similar situation.
Yeah. It's a cherry picking deal.
Yeah.
It's one of those that when he was talking about Georgia and them taking the high moral ground, and he's like, spare me. He's making an excellent point.
Oh, yeah.
Because you look at all the people, and look, we have to look ourselves in the mirror. And I'll tell you, I was talking to Evan with BOS Sports and Best of Arkansas Sports. And at first I'm like, dude, this is ridiculous. Where are we going with this? And even coming in the show, where are we going with this? But when you sent me that clip, and I really sat down and I listened to the 4-minute clip of it, and you listen to all of it. And this is where we as fans, and the biggest point he made was, you got to take your emotions out of it and watch this, because you can't sit there and say, oh, us at Georgia would never do this, when you keep on bringing people back to your campus who keep on getting arrested.
Yeah.
You can't at Alabama let the guy who brought a gun to a crime scene, and that's the thing. You're justifying your way out of it. But if it was another school, you'd be wrong.
1,000%.
And that's, and you got to look at yourself, Razorback fans. If this was to happen, if this was to be, let's say Taylon Green had another year,
okay,
and he was on the verge of taking you to a bowl or 9-10 win season or the college football playoff, how many of these people would be speaking out against this if he got denied playing for Arkansas next year? If he was the top quarterback, if he was this, he was that, and they wouldn't let him play, what would the outcry be if this happened to Arkansas fans?
They wouldn't know what to do. At the same time, This is going to be devil's advocate, I guess.
Yeah.
So at the same time, you have a guy that is about to make $5 million in NIL that has done this or whatever. I get it. Whatever. At the same time, he'd never played or he was not in these games. So I just felt like it does not matter. So he had no say. He wasn't shaving points. He wasn't doing any of that stuff. I'm going to play Colin Cowherd's clip right quick just so everybody knows what we're talking about.
He's not supposed to do this. He bet on college football games, a lot of bets. And yesterday, an appellate court in Texas, in Lubbock, Texas, that's where Texas Tech is, said, you know what? We're going to suspend him for 2 games, and that is it. Oh, that did not go over well. Everybody's upset with that. The integrity of the game, this is outrageous. In fact, Georgia athletics, their athletic director, Josh Brooks, says, no more playing Texas Tech and everything. Folks, when Georgia goes high moral ground, watch out. That's a football program that should have their own Audubon. Give me a break.
Yeah. I mean, I was laughing. It got me when we come back. But the thing is, with all of this is for a quarterback that went 7-6 at Cincinnati. You went 7-6 at Cincinnati. You got blown out by TCU. You got beat by BYU 26-14. You got blown out by Utah. You lost to Nebraska 20-17. Your wins were Bowling Green, Northwestern State, Iowa State, key win there. I'll give them that. Mm-hmm. And then you had good wins against Oklahoma State. You're not a world beater. So my thing is about this. I kind of want to side with Colin Cowherd here. Mm-hmm. Because, again, the same situation I was talking about last week when we're talking about women's sports and everybody's saying we're going to get a bag at Texas Tech. So be it. Where's this girl going to make money after softball? Yeah. The amount of money that the men are making in 1 year. So be it. That's where we are, because everybody outside of Texas Tech is crying foul when it happens to Texas Tech. But I'm telling you, we are calling for Courtney Deifel to get more funding. We're calling for that $1 million player at Arkansas. We are calling for that $1 million quarterback at Arkansas. And he does have a point. He didn't break the law. He broke an NCAA rule. So there's where the kicker is going to be. If the NCAA deems him ineligible, then he broke an NCAA rule. So therefore the NCAA should be the be all end all. And again,
why are we letting it go to a judge?
Yes.
Versus just laying down the hammer, whether it's conference, whether it's NCAA, whatever. But then, this happens more often than not, that it's just like, oh, let's let it go to court. They can decide. Yeah. We're not going to, because we have no backbone as the NCAA.
They don't, because they want the money. Because guess what? What are we talking about right now on June 9th? We ain't even got to the SEC media days. We've not even got to the talking season. What are we talking about right now? Okay. You got the World Cup coming. You got the NBA Finals. The NFL hasn't started their big, off-season push for their marketing, and they're talking about the NFL draft and blah, blah, blah. What are we talking about? Boom, we're talking about college football. College football is going to start marketing itself like NFL year-round. And that's the biggest thing that irritates me about, not irritates me, but the control the NFL has is it could be a great game day on Saturday, and we're talking about NFL stuff. Or, it might get a little 10, 15 minutes. So college football is going to start doing that model where they want everybody talking about college football. And you're having this the transfer portal, NIL, everything. So, yes, if they deem him ineligible, then you got to follow that law. But that's where we are as of picking and choosing and cherry picking who and what is not eligible to play. Because, like we said, how many people wanted Pete Rose to be in the Hall of Fame?
A lot.
I do. I think it deserves to be.
He does. He does.
So if this is where we're going, you either do everything yes or you do everything no.
Yeah.
But they're picking and choosing how they want to create things. So you know what? Let them all play, because in all, what's he going to do next year at Texas Tech? Is he going to throw for 60 touchdowns and 5,000 yards and just be so dominant in college football that it's unfair? Is it really an unfair advantage if he plays?
Hell no.
Okay.
He is not that good of a quarterback for all of this drama.
You had a guy in the G League.
Yeah.
There's a difference in somebody who has been in the NBA or the G League for 5 years, and you put them in a college atmosphere.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to dominate. That is just, you're going to, if you're a legit NBA player and you're playing, I've seen the difference between a high school and D1 and D1 and NBA. It's phenomenal. The gap in between all three levels. If you throw somebody who's legit in the NBA and you put them in a college roster, they're going to score 25, 30 points a game, and they're going to average 10, 15 rebounds and probably 10 assists. They're going to average a triple-double. That is where the unfair advantage comes in, the competitive part. What is this kid going to do at Texas Tech? And I'm sorry, people want to go, well, what would Arkansas do with Texas Tech schedule? Come on now. Like, let's not make it about yourselves. Let's not try to put Arkansas and give them Texas Tech schedule.
So everybody knows how hard I have been on Arkansas for the past few years. If Arkansas had Texas Tech's schedule, Arkansas would go minimum 8-4. Minimum.
And you're talking about last year.
Yeah. Their upcoming schedule, Arkansas would go 8-4.
That's tough.
I mean,
maybe because
that's how I feel.
And that's just maybe because how horrible they were on defense. You know, that's where I have a hard time of how they were closing out a game, how they were finishing, and then not adjusting in the second half, and the teams that Arkansas struggled against and lost against. It's hard for me to think 8-4. I get where you're going with it. It's just hard for me to agree with that because you look at the Memphis game, you look at these games where they're playing terrible. And how would they do again? And you look about their offense. What is the freaking offenses in the Big 12? It's freaking, let's throw for 400, 500, 600 yards in a game. Yeah. It's air raid. And that's where I think Arkansas would have got 8 up. I mean, that 1 year, they got beat by Oklahoma State, and Oklahoma State finished 2-10 that year or something along the lines.
It was 2-10. Yeah.
So it's hard, but I get where you're coming from. But to me, it's a stretch of saying they would go 8-4 until because they would have to outscore everybody, and I don't know with their defense if they would do that. Go ahead.
It's just one of those things that, like, does Sorsby now become the villain of the NCAA?
I don't think so, because here's where I go with all this.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't against Bediako. Yeah. I was against freaking Oates because he's a scumbag. We weren't against the kid. I mean, and I know people are saying, well, he's an adult. He is. He's an adult. Everybody's an adult. I'm not against the guy, because how many of you would sit there if you had an opportunity to play college football, no matter the circumstances? How many of you would take the same payment? How many of you would take the same amount of money and then go play? Everybody would. Yeah. I mean, you're not the moral police. Again, what Colin Cowherd said about Georgia, and, let's give it a break. But there's many other people. The LSU people, media, that are talking about this. Y'all have no say-so either. You're going out and getting Will Wade as your freaking basketball coach. I mean, come on, sit it out.
Yeah, you've got
sit it out. And then, you win an argument when they want to bring up, because we're from Arkansas, we're Arkansas podcast. Oh, well, what's Arkansas doing? Well, has nothing to do with you bringing Will Wade back.
Yeah.
Or Lane Kiffin, and he wants to, I left Ole Miss because of racism. Shut up. Like, come on. Don't say that you left. You're being a scumbag for even bringing that kind of topic into it anyway. And it's a woe is me. That's the thing. We wanted him in Arkansas, but we would have had to taken the baggage that came with it. Mm-hmm. And we are so desperate for a coach like that we would have had to accept that. But don't still mean he's not a scumbag. he's got spots where he's proven he is a good dude, but he's still a scumbag at the same time. And then you throw in everything.
Go ahead. I think at the end of the day, whatever your opinion is of Sorsby, what's the situation, etc., the NCAA is the one that's at fault for letting it get to this point.
Absolutely.
Because you let it go to a judge rather than making the decision yourself. And we've seen that too many times before. And that's what I think I'm sick of.
Yeah. Right here, local judges are the villains. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, that's I can rock with that. I can rock with that. But you go back to the thing that it's the fact that, again, and Tony right here brings up a great point. We want to talk about gambling, but what's allowed in college sport? What did they allow in college sports? They allowed college athletes to gamble.
In pro sports.
It's almost like telling the kids to give them cell phones and stay off TikTok, or you give them a cell phone and stay off social media.
Yeah.
You're giving these athletes a platform to bet. You're saying it's okay to bet, but you can't bet on these games. You're giving them the temptation. You're giving them the tools. Look at vaping. If they just had 20 million vapes and they had every one of them just cigarette flavors and they tasted like trash, what would be the vaping problem with kids today? You'd have some.
Yeah.
But what did you add? You made it taste like the unicorn and the bubblies and all this blah, blah stuff that it's appealing to kids and you're giving it to them. Now we have a vaping problem.
Well, it's the same thing with,
exactly.
And I hate going to this extreme, but drugs, alcohol, knives, etc. You tell people you can't, then they want to do it. You take it away, then they're going to go find it. So I feel like that's where we're at with this.
Yeah, it's the thing that, again, I keep on going back to, and if anybody hasn't seen the 4-minute clip, go watch the 4-minute clip. We just took a piece of what he breaks it down perfectly of just so many good points of how it's the old cliche. Don't hate the player, hate the game.
Yep.
You can't hate on him for taking the money. You can't even hate Texas Tech for trying, but you can be mad at the judges who allowed. You can be mad at the NCAA for allowing this, because now this is going to open up every single can of worms, and you're causing more drama in this than it needs to be. So if you're going to allow him to play, let him play. But again, he's not going to see it there and he's not going to throw for 45 touchdowns. I mean, he might. I'm just saying
they are not going to the national title game. No way, shape, or form. He is not that good of a quarterback.
Yeah, exactly. And again, he went 7-6 at Cincinnati.
Yeah.
So if we're doing this for a 7-6 quarterback, what would you do now? We did have in softball where the player of the year, D1 softball player of the year at Florida State, entered the transfer portal to go get a bigger bag. But again, what's the money comparison to a Florida State, and you can jump to maybe a Texas Tech or OU? You would probably double. You're not talking about a few $100,000. You're probably doubling,
if not tripling.
Income.
Yeah.
Florida State's whole budget for softball is probably $1 million. And she's probably going to go get $1 million on her own somewhere else. If that's the case, then let it be. Because guess what? What did Texas Tech not do this year? What did Texas Tech not do last year?
But they paid.
What did Ohio State do the very first year they had the biggest roster? They didn't win. It doesn't. What did Arkansas do in basketball?
Yeah.
I mean, let's keep it a buck. Arkansas, with the roster they had, they were the first $6 million team, and they had the John Tyson. They haven't made it, So for Arkansas fans or us, I can't sit here and say he shouldn't play, he shouldn't get this, and he shouldn't get that when we are welcoming in our 6, 7, probably more than that now, $12 million roster for basketball. We can't. I just can't do it, because it's hypocrisy if I'm saying, heck yeah, let's give the kids coming into Arkansas $1 million each. I mean, it is. I mean, I know everybody's throwing the outside stuff in, but again, how many Georgia players have been arrested? How many people at LSU's been arrested? How many times at Arkansas has somebody been arrested and got to stay on the field and play?
Let him line up, suit up, all that, and then let the defense of the other team just ransack him.
Well, and that's the thing. This guy thinks he's so good, and this is just how this guy. Look, this is the $6 million man. This is this guy. He's going to come in and he thinks he's going to do this and he's going to do that. Well, that should give you that motivation to go, we are going to throttle them.
Yeah.
And then when you pay them all this money, again, Texas Tech is throwing all this money at these teams. It better work out. I told this same thing to the LSU people. All the money you're throwing at your football team, you better go undefeated this year and win a national championship. You better do it next year because you're the one bragging. You brought Coach O back. You brought Lane Kiffin in. Will Wade, you brought Will Wade, and you're throwing money at all these players that you probably know that half of them aren't going to play for your team, but you're going out and getting all these people. Y'all better win a national championship or y'all can't say nothing because y'all talk so much crap. You're the most arrogant fan base in all of college sports, and you love being the villain. So you better win a national championship or it will be a complete failure.
The same teams across whatever sport are going to continue to win no matter the money that they're given because of who they are. You'll have your one-offs, but at the same time, these teams are always going to win. And it sucks at times, but at the same time, it's like, woe is me. I'm envious of you. But even Alabama football, I guarantee post Nick Saban, they will win a national title before Arkansas would.
Yeah, because they have the talent. They'd still have the talent to get them there. But what has happened to the likes of Alabama since the transfer portal, the NIL, and it caused him to dip. That's the thing. He might be. I'm not saying he might be. He is the greatest college coach of all time, but that don't give him the right to say what he said about this.
Oh, no, for him him doing that stuff. No, that is, you got everything before everybody else and before like all this was legal and whatnot. You backed out when everybody else got the chance to have the same amount of money.
It was a coward's way out. And then he wants to get on a high horse and be the spokesperson for it. Now, I think he should be the commissioner. I think he'd be a good commissioner, but be a commissioner. Don't sit here and get on your high horse and say how it's not fair for the I mean, that's what cracks me up about it. Is it's a lot of the Kirby and all the Georgias and and all these SEC schools coming together and say, we're not playing Texas Tech, and the Big 12 teams, we're not playing Texas Tech. Why?
You're just trying to be a headline.
And then when they go 7-6 or 8-4, 9-3, and you're not making the college football playoff, they're going to be laughing at you. So you know what? You got to take the criticism. And that's the way it should be. Don't let them, you're letting them win by saying, well, we just won't play them. One, that's not going to happen. I don't see that happening, but also that's what makes you should want to go out and beat them more.
Yeah.
Because what did everybody want to do when Alabama did this with Bidiaco? They wanted to beat them more. What did they do with Brandon Miller? They wanted to beat Alabama more. They were the villain because of what they did. And teams played better against them, and teams beat them. That's not how you handle it.
I think the teams that have come out and said, like, oh, we're not playing them, we're taking them up, whatever, y'all are just trying to be a headline. You're trying to be a martyr. You're trying to act like you're better than. But at the same time, y'all are also the same teams that do the same thing or protect your players for the same thing, or, other things that not betting necessarily. But you protect your players, and so you're trying to act like you are holier than thou.
Yeah.
And I'm just kind of like, why?
Nobody in college athletics now has any a leg to stand on. I'm talking about power for big-time athletics because it's going to the softballs, baseballs, basketballs, football, all the major sports that are doing the transfer portal. And they're getting these players. None of them had a leg to stand on because all of them would do it. All of them would accept the same circumstances. And So therefore, everything's just hypocritical.
Yeah.
And the fact that the whole clip where he was talking about spare me, the Autobahn, because I mean, again, how many players? And he said,
That was a perfect
what,
line
100 something people that
Yeah.
had been arrested, they're talking about. So, but anyways, it's one of those, we will keep eyes on the situation. We'll keep you updated. World Cup action is coming up. And for those, before we take a quick break, Bet Saracen. Everybody want to bet on the World Cup. You want to bet on the College World Series. Bet Saracen is the place to go. If you use promo code for those new people sign up today, download the app, use promo code HOG250. Your first bet, of $25 or more gets you $250 in free cash, free bets. Promo code HOG250 gets you $250. You have 10 days to redeem that. Terms do apply for that, but we want to thank our partners at Bet Saracen. So go download the app today and get on the action. But what we're going to do, we're going to take a quick commercial break. Adam's going to be out. He is going to take a break for the night. So doing the full time for Hog HQ and Hog Talk,
It's too much right now.
But what we're going to do when I come back from break, we'll talk about some softball transfer portal stuff, and we'll talk some World Cup. We'll talk about a lot of the action right after the break when I find the commercial button on my screen to play it. Here we go. We'll talk to you in a bit.
Searching for premium brewery products that will take your daily routine to the next level? Look no further than Sterling Soap Company. Our handmade soaps, aftershaves, and balms are made with only the finest ingredients that give you the ultimate grooming experience. With a variety of scents to choose from, there's something for everyone. Plus, our products are crafted in small batches to ensure the highest level of quality. So why wait? Visit www.sterlingsoap.com or visit our retail store at 16 West Walnut Street in Paris, Arkansas. Shop our collection and discover the difference for yourself. Upgrade your grooming routine with Sterling Soap Company. Are you looking for a place to grab a cold drink and some delicious food? Look no further than Arkansas Brewing Company. Located at 201 South 1st Street in beautiful downtown Ozark, our establishment offers a wide selection of craft beers and tasty eats. But what sets us apart is our welcoming atmosphere and friendly staff. At Arkansas Brewing Company, you'll always feel like part of the family. So visit Destiny and Christopher Brockett and staff today and see for yourself what makes us the go-to spot for locals and visitors alike. Arkansas Brewing Company, come for the drinks and stay for the friends. Attention DIYers and home improvement enthusiasts. Are you searching for the right tools and supplies to tackle your next project? Look no further than Mentor's Hardware Store. With locations in Ozark, Alma, and Clarksville, our vast selection of hardware and building materials is sure to have everything you need. Whether you're fixing a leaky faucet or building a new deck, plus our knowledgeable staff is always on hand to offer expert advice and guidance. And with our competitive prices and convenient online ordering, Mentor's Hardware Store is your one-stop shop for all your DIY needs. Visit us today and let's build something amazing together.
Are you looking to take your career to the next level? Look no further than ATU Ozark Campus. As a 2-year satellite campus of Arkansas Tech University, we're dedicated to a quality workforce education, industry partnerships for in-demand jobs, and tailored paths for success. Our programs are led by industry professionals. Whether it's a certificate or you're aiming for a graduate degree, ATU Ozark has you covered. Visit our website at www.atu.edu/Ozark or contact us at 479-667-2117. Your future begins here. Welcome to Ozark Area Chamber of Commerce, where our mission is simple: encourage, promote, and aid an enduring environment of shared economic opportunity and civic development for the Ozark, Arkansas area. Whether you're a local business owner or a resident, we've got something for you. Shop our unique local businesses, explore the beauty of Ozark, and savor local flavors and find cozy accommodations. Join us in building a stronger community. And to learn more, contact us at 479-667-2525. Remember, together we thrive.
And when we welcome you back to the Hog Talk podcast. Adam hopped up for the evening, so it's just going to be for the rest of this next segment. But a couple of good news in the world of softball. Arkansas hired Justin Schultz as the associate head coach. He comes from Boise State. They just announced that today, but they did lose another player. Atalia Rio has entered the transfer portal. That one was a little surprising to me. I really thought that she would end up coming back. So Arkansas is going to be a little thin on the returning starters. They're going to be thin. So we know what we talked about last week about getting this team some support, getting them some NIL support. And so Courtney Deifel and squad can get in the transfer portal and get it, because guys, what we're seeing with this Brandon Sorsby stuff, and we're seeing with, Kennedy, the pitcher at Texas Tech, making $1 million. It's not going away anytime soon. And if you want to compete, you have to adjust with the times. And when we're talking about the Sorsby stuff, I'm not saying that we think he should play, but you have to understand that that's probably going to be the way it's going to be. And if they let him, then he's eligible. But we also have to look at ourselves, and what me and Adam were talking about is, one, how many of us listening wanted Pete Rose to be in the Hall of Fame? How many of the people have wanted people to come back and give them a second chance? And I know he bet. I know there was a lot. It wasn't just a single bet. It wasn't just a mistake. But yet, when you are those Alabama fans who was rooting for Brandon Miller and all the stuff that happened with that, you were rooting for the Bediako situation when at the time it was illegal. You see the Will Wade stuff at the time, gets caught on a wire app, strong offer, but you welcome him back. Arkansas, with all the stuff that happened with Bobby Petrino and how that whole situation set the football program back, still is setting them back. We welcome him back with open arms. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm not saying shame on you, but it's what happens when you, like Colin Coward said, you take the emotions out of it. And when you could sit there and look at the situation of the quarterback, and if he comes in and he plays at Texas Tech, then let him, because, let's be real. What is he going to do at Texas Tech? What does Texas Tech have outside of him on the roster? I don't know much about the team, but do they have a bunch of All-Americans around them? He could be the top quarterback, have a subpar year, can make it to the NFL, but what is he going to do in the college ranks? And that's my point of it, is if we're going to do this and we talk about it, unfair advantages, and we're going to talk about people dominating, if this is somebody that could have been an elite quarterback in the NFL and they're just far above everybody else, and you drop them in the college game and you can just tell, then maybe. But until that happens, I don't think it's going to make much of a difference. And that's solely based off of what else we are allowing in college athletics. We didn't want the money. Now the money's here and we want it. We didn't want other teams to get it until we started paying players. Now we want to pay our players whatever it takes. We're calling for more money for softball. We're calling for more money for baseball. We're calling for more money in football. We're calling for everything when it comes to this NIL, because that's what it is. That's what it's going to take to win. So we have to take everything else with it. Now, if the NCAA wants to say, well, you broke a law or broke a rule, and that rule, we're going to suspend you for 2-3 games. All right. That's what he has to do. I don't necessarily agree with going above it or trying to get these local judges involved where they're probably getting side cash to make these rulings. There should be judgment on that, because you're supposed to be unbiased. But if they're taking money or they're doing something illegal, if that gets investigated, they should have to face the consequences for that. But they're not going to. We know that's not going to happen. Nothing's going to happen to these judges for that. But that's what it's going to take for things to change. Or, like we had stated in a couple episodes before, everybody just stop paying top dollar for all these players. If everybody did it, nobody's getting $1 million to play basketball. The market would go down, because that's what everybody's paying. when I first heard about the NIL and the transfer portal, I thought it was going to be like a land rush. It was going to last a couple of years. The big money people are going to realize that the ROI on all this was not worth it. But what I'm now starting to realize is you're bringing all these corporate entities in here. You're bringing all these third parties to where it's going to be a tax write-off. So I think a lot of it, they don't even care because it's just tax write-off to them. Hey, I'm going to throw $1 million at this player. It's a tax write-off, whatever. The kid gets free money, no taxes taken out of it. Wipe your hands on it and move on. I think that's the biggest change I've seen with it. But going back to the softball situation and just knowing how close Arkansas was to making it and how frustrating it was watching the team that they swept in Austin win the national championship. You're watching a team that you beat 2 out of 3 in Oklahoma, destroy Kansas, and move on to Omaha. So how does Arkansas get out of this? What does Arkansas have to do? Fans, what are you wanting to see? Let's say we're going to start fresh. Let's just write this whole year off. All right, never happened. Frustration's there. Celebrate the wins, but let's take a reset. What is it going to take for you to buy back into this Arkansas program? Let's start with football. What would it take? And let's just, if it was a possibility, not judging just the team that Arkansas has, what would it take for Arkansas football to get the ball rolling? How many wins will it take for you to get back on the train and get you back on the positive side of things of, okay, I see this going in the right direction. And then you move on to basketball. Does basketball have to get past the Sweet 16? Do they have to get to the Elite 8 Final Four for that momentum to carry on to baseball? Softball. What if they don't make it back to Oklahoma City next year? Are you going to consider, is there going to be less people on the bandwagon because they made it, but now they didn't make it as far? Now we're just getting right back off the train, because that is honestly to the casual parts of the fan base when it comes to the women's sports is they get really hyped up with them when they do really, really good and they're starting to gain traction. But by God, as soon as they lose, you're right back off of them saying, see, this is why I never support them, because they never win the big one. That's what's happened. That what happened with the basketball program. It's what happened to the softball program. It's what happened to soccer. It gets to the point where you get on the hype train, and when they don't succeed or they lose, well, it's just easy to jump off the hype train or jump off the bandwagon when you weren't a true fan to begin with. And this is nothing against the ones that are true ride or die fans. Separate from that, because they're always going to be there. They're always going to be supporting the programs. But we have to ask ourselves, where are we at? Are we going to be in a situation where we're looking for a new athletic director? What is the first job? What is the first task he should handle in his first 90 days as athletic director? What do you want to see? Because we're at that point to where your football team didn't do so well. Your basketball team, Sweet 16, softball team, amazing. Your track team has a great chance of winning another national championship. Your golf team, amazing, making it to the Final Four. We had a lot of bright spots, a lot to be proud of. But when we have to really look at things, we're looking at our 3 money makers. That's what you talk about, the excitement. I go back to 21 on the excitement of how everything was during that time frame and that year at Arkansas, and how crazy it was when you beat Texas. And leading up to the game, it takes you an hour to go from the Razorback Stadium around back to Bogle Park and by the soccer field. Because there was just that many people in town. That's where I want to see Arkansas athletics. I want to see them get to that point to where people are tailgating. There's excitement. There's buzz year round around the athletics. And it starts this year. How do we do it? Does it mean we get rid of our athletic director, start fresh, start new, and let's rebuild this thing? Is it going to take that to get people reinvested in this athletic program to where they're given money? Because if not, we're going to find out pretty quickly that if we don't get the success, if we don't get the money, we don't get the support, we're not going to have the success. And in 2 years from now, when you have those that were sunshine pumping the last 2 years, they're wondering what's going on. The ones that have been in the background looking at this to where this could go, we're going to be like, well, we tried to explain it, but we couldn't get the support that we needed. And now we're in a mess. And I think in a small sense, we're already starting to be in a mess. I just think that we haven't wiped off all the dirt yet. And I think once that happens, you're going to see the damage that is being done to this athletic program, because you wanted to put all this emphasis in your football program donation wise to what's not going to NIL. And I'm afraid another year like this in this regime, when we come back, let's look June 9th, 27, where are we going to be as an athletic program, and where are we wanting to be with our athletic director, and where are we at money wise? How did the football team do? We can revisit this. Me and Adam will revisit this. I'll bookmark this to come back to this exact date in 27 and see where we are, and see if how far have we fallen, or have we started to turn? And that's where I hope. Let's just turn. Let's just start making progress. I'm not saying everything has to win, but we want to have something to believe in. And honestly, there's nothing to believe in when you look at this program, because not again, nothing against Ryan Silverfield, because he's fresh. But when you're looking at the funding that they're trying to do, and you want to put all these names on the football field, but you don't want to fund for an NIL, basketball set, but they're going to still need more. And then we've seen the frustration with Dave Van Horn. How much longer is he here? A lot of questions to be asked. But all in all, when you look at what's going on at Texas Tech, and it does raise a lot of flags, it does raise things that you're thinking, but what were we saying about the transfer portal in general? What were we saying about NIL in general? Just like Colin said, things that we were flabbergasted, now we're accepting. So we'll see how that ends. See how, if he's even, I mean, we're talking about all this, he might even still be play, but there's going to be more people that try to sign on with this. There's going to be a lot of more people that are going to be doing that. We've seen it. I'll bring up LSU basketball. They're just picking kids off the street that are played in the G League. And they're like, all right, let's just get 6 guys. If 3 of them are eligible, okay, cool. If the 3 others are not, whatever, we tried. That's what we're getting. We're just going to start grabbing anybody to see if we can make them eligible. We're going to tie these things up in court, and we're going to flush to the judges where they're like, here, sign off on it. Or they'll just go to a local judge and have them throw them some money, and then they'll be eligible. So we know where it starts. We're not going to beat the dead horse. This is off season. Adam, we told you we're going to start bringing random topics. We'll talk a little football. We'll talk a little Razorback sports. But we know what's popular right now. World Cup's about to kick off. That's exciting. It's one of my favorite sports to watch. I couldn't. This is where I am with the World Cup. I couldn't tell you 5 players that are playing on any team, but to me, what is happening with the World Cup is what I wish college sports would go back to where it was with, and it is there somewhat, but it does not on the level of the World Cup. When you have the support and the camaraderie, you have 80,000 people just singing in unison. I mean, just the atmosphere around the World Cup and how proud these teams are. They could just make it to the World Cup for the first time. I mean, hell, I can't remember what year it was, but one of the greatest sports moments I remember was when the Ivory Coast made the World Cup for the first time, it stopped their civil war. Like, they stopped their civil war to watch their team play in the World Cup. That's insane to even think about. That they literally, I can't remember what magazine. Well, I want to say it was Time magazine, but there was an image of two tanks pointed at each other. And it's because they stopped the Civil War to watch their team play. And it was the Ivory Coast. I cannot remember what year it was, but the star player, his name was Drogba. But that's just one thing that always sticks with me. That's what sports means to people. And maybe that's a lot of the problem is we are caught up in the money of it and the nostalgia. What nostalgia are we going to have 20 years from now? What we live on, me being 44, we live off nostalgia. Our era is a nostalgic era. So what is there going to be even any nostalgia in the coming years? What are they going to have to look back on? Just, oh, well, we paid this player a lot of money to play. So, but me and Adam, we'll come back to you Mondays or back to Mondays. We had some scheduling issues with some stuff. We'll go back to Mondays at 6:05 p.m. We're going to do similar setup like this, bring you a lot of hot topics. If it's Arkansas based, we'll keep you up to date with the football team and everything going on with all that good stuff. But want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight. Thank all of our sponsors. Thank all of our fans. For Adam Hall, I'm Porter Hayes. Again, thank you for tuning in. Hog HQ Live will be back on Sunday at 8:05. We will come back to you next Monday, 6:05 p.m. We will catch you on Monday.